Hello my Mercurial mercenaries! This is a different kind of video. I want you to watch my reaction to the following song, Perhaps I'll Kill You, and we'll come back afterwards and talk about it.
I found my Moriarty, I say found, I'm more stumbled really. This could be what makes me, but who's the lock and who's the key? Too few things for me to score, too many songs I've sung before. You're broken and I care no more. I am your power, I am your law. You got what you wanted, my impact was blunted. You are now the hunted. This has taken me a decade. The past has been a slow fade. I have ideas I chew. Perhaps I'll kill you. Perfect bodies, far from perfect faces. When it comes to loving, I've already packed my cases. You picked it up, much more than you know what's coming. Perhaps I'll kill you. Writing poetry, I must have been out of my mind to think anyone listen to me. So these words are as I speak, no flowering up and no tongue in cheek. I'm ending the story, returning the book to the library, where for so long I have been stuck, 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 stuck. Day like anger, I rage inside.
you go, my mercenaries. That was a reaction to one of my own songs, and we're going to have a little bit of a time-wastery discussion about it now. The interesting thing is, when I'm reacting to other people's music, I have to guesstimate what the songs are about, what the intention is behind the music. But here, we've got me, and I am the music, and I am the vocals. And a song like Perhaps I'll Kill You, I did it all myself. I wrote it, I played it, I sung it, I mixed it, I produced it, I mastered it, I put it out into the world, and today we're going to talk about it. First things first, Perhaps I'll Kill You was a song that I wrote in its original form when I was a teenager. It was one of the first songs I ever wrote, and it was based on the title, and the title I got from probably my favourite comic. It was one of the first comics that I ever bought, and it's a first edition. I still have it in pristine condition. It's Batman's The Killing Joke. It's a thin comic, very little to it. It's just one little plot line. It's basically the telling of one joke with the punchline at the very end. But it has one of the most famous pains, graphical pains, probably in comic history. You know the shot I'm going to show you now, but it's the Joker laughing. At the beginning of the story, Batman's talking to a guy that he believes is the Joker in Arkham Asylum. And he says to this man he believes to be the Joker, "Perhaps you'll kill me, perhaps I'll kill you, perhaps sooner, perhaps later." And it's simply that line there. That I took as inspiration. Sometimes it's all you need. And throughout my music career, I've done that a lot. I've taken inspiration from lines from TV shows, lines from films. I've taken inspiration from everywhere. And I suppose that has impact on copyright in a way. I mean, I come from an era in the 90s where people were ruthlessly, with gay abandon, stealing sections of songs and sampling. You had DJ Shadow and DJ Cam and Fatboy Slim, and the 90s really was a time, and the Beastie Boys, it was a time where people were just taking anything from anywhere and mixing it together. Like I said, in gay abandon. That can't happen today. Today, the copyright police will be onto you. But back then, the idea of just taking a line from a comic, Perhaps I'll Kill You, and then making it into a song. Now, the very first incarnation of this song, I recorded it on a tape-to-tape player in my early teens. Still at school, I think, when I wrote the first version of Perhaps I'll Kill You. Played it live a few times with my first kind of real band where I was the singer. In a very different version to this song you've just heard. So a decade later, when I needed a song, I thought I could rework Perhaps I'll Kill You. And I think the only thing that really survived was the ba-da-bam-bam-bam, ba-da-da-bam-bam, ba-da-da-bam-bam, that tune. Let's just listen to the song again, right? Straight away here, what's evident is that I've layered a lot of vocals to make this big backing vocal choir-like rush. And I also note that the bass is very, very sub. This was recorded probably around 2011 or so. And the way I've produced this song isn't how I would do it today. The drums are very reverby. The bass is very sub-bass. It's not quite how I would do it today. But in a way, it's interesting because I'm listening back to a song I haven't listened to for over half a decade. I'm hearing the old me and the old production me. But okay, so this bit here that I'm acting out here, this is the riff. I think that's the main thing that survives from the very first incarnations of this, when I was writing on lined A4 paper before the internet existed. It's nostalgic for me.
I found my Moriarty, I say found, I'm more stumbled really.
The interesting thing, I suppose, is that the way I'm singing it, it's kind of rappy, very rappy. And I've put the lines on the screen here after I did the reaction, and I haven't been able to find the lines written down. This is just from what I can hear, so they may be wrong. But the very opening of the song is interesting. I found my Moriarty. I say found, more stumbled, really. This, well, you've got to understand here that I was writing and recording an album after I had left. I was in a couple of bands in my youth. Both my main bands with me as the singer as well, singer, guitar player. And I'd left playing live behind me, kind of like the Beatles did when they were doing something like Sgt. Pepper, apart from me on a far lesser scale, obviously. But this was an album that I was working on for a decade, and Perhaps I'll Kill You was the final song on this particular album. And like I said, I'd been influenced by TV and movie, music. So many arts had influenced me with the lyrics that I'd been writing throughout my youth and throughout my times in bands. And relationship breakdowns. Relationship breakdowns is always a good one, my Mercenaries. If you want to write a decent song, go out with a girl and preferably have her dump you, and then you'll write. You can get. I've had albums worth of material out of that. But it got to the point around this song, around the end of this album, where I felt I'd said everything that I had to say. And then I was on SoundCloud, which was a format that I was, well, into around 2009, 10, 11 or so. I actually met Bill Ryan on SoundCloud. And it was there that I found there were other people dotted around the country, dotted around the world, who were really clever and they were producing things. So you had the likes of Radiohead in the mainstream, but you also had people kind of like underground, just putting things on SoundCloud that were really, really clever. And you listen to them and think, people should be buying this. You know, people are out there buying in rainbows or whatever, but they could be buying this. But these people are making nothing. And I'd found these people. And to me, if I was Sherlock Holmes, they were my Moriarty.
Really, this could be what makes me. But who's the lock and who's the key? Too few things for me to score. Too many songs I've sung before. You're broken and I can't.
Too many songs I've sung before. For what I just said about how a relationship breakup is a good way of having material from the heart to put out there. And let's face it, no matter what you say, unless you're Iron Maiden writing about fighter planes or books, heartbreak, all the greatest songs pretty much come from heartbreak. And it got to the point where, yeah, how many more times could I talk about feeling lovesick or depressed? Too many songs I've sung before.
And I'm more. I am your power, I am your law. You got what you wanted. My impact was blunted. You are now the hunted. Let's end what you started.
So, Perhaps I'll Kill You, in its earliest incarnations, back when I was playing it live with the bands, it was always, I suppose, I'd have to go back to those original lyrics that are now lost like tears in rain, but it was probably a revenge song, Perhaps I'll Kill You. And this incarnation of the song is also a little bit of a revenge song. And where it talks about my impact being blunted, there's always something, whether for whatever reason you leave a scene, and I certainly left a music scene, I left my own band, whatever happened. there comes a point where you think that people are moving on without you, whether it's girls, friends, fellow band members, moving on without you. And this is a song that kind of comes back at it. And it says, yes, my impact may have been blunted, but you, I mean, who's you? I don't know. You are now the hunted. I'm not sure who you are. Is that a specific person? What was I thinking when I wrote it? It's like I was talking about in another video about Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen. There comes a point where you don't want a song explained too much, because you have to let a song mean something for each person. And when you hear the line, you are now the hunted, that might mean something to you. To me, when I wrote it, I think it's just a song. This song is just a song to remind people that I'm still here, I think. This has taken me a decade. This is referencing this particular album that I'm working on at this time. And this song is the final song for that album recording session.
The past has been a slow fade. I have ideas on you. Perhaps I'll kill you. Perfect bodies, far from perfect faces.
Perfect bodies, far from perfect faces. Now, the first time I listened to this song a couple of days ago, for the first time in years, I heard that line and I thought, that's a good line. I like that. And another thing that's obvious here is the way that the song is built up. It's quite a long song, but it's built up of specific sections. And I should have said this before, but it's coming back to me now a little bit. But this, I think I was watching things like Les Mis in the theatre. And I remember saying to, I think it was Bill at the time, Bill Ryan, I remember saying to him that I wanted to, and I've talked to you guys about this before, but it specifically relates to this song. I wanted to write a pop rock song that would compress a whole theatre show, just compress it down into one song. So there's movements and themes in this song, and it just shifts. I like that. I very much like that. And when I first heard this song again recently, I listened to it, and I mean, you can see it at the beginning of this video, where I kind of sit back and I go, you can see me mouth the word wow. This song is, to me, in my opinion, and I realise that I'm the guy who wrote it, so like whatever, but to me this song is clever. It's clever, and it sounds massive. I'm probably singing that to myself there. Probably in the writing of this song. The idea that I wanted to take something that's like Les Mis, which is based on a brick of a book, which then becomes an epic musical, and I'm saying, I want to do that in a 6-minute pop song. You've bitten off much more than you can chew. Of course, there's the other side to that, which is I'm saying that to someone. They're messing with me. You're messing with me. You've bitten off much more than you can chew. It's singing it to myself, and you can take something away from it in terms of a revenge song, because, like I'm doing, pointing to my sign. Absolutely. And now we're going to shift again. We're bringing back the riff from the very beginning of the song. Which is important, because we've got a song consisting of lots of different sections. We need to keep a consistent theme through it. Shift. Just as I did there on the screen. Now, this is getting across that idea of musicals, and yes, this is one song, but That's quite a shift there, I would say. Let's just listen to that again. Some people would say you shouldn't do this.
I used to labour over the lines. I thought I was writing poetry. I must have been out of my mind to think anyone listened to me.
Now, these are... I've got to say, again, it's my song, so it sounds like I'm blowing my own trumpet. But I've got to say that I very much like the lyrics of this song. I think the song overall is very clever. And when I listened back to it, I was surprised by how insightful, for my life, the lyrics are. And I'm explaining, right, okay, this is interesting as well. And I think I tried to tell Bill this, 8 years ago or whatever. This song for me is also about the songwriting process. It's about so many things. It's condensing a theatre show into 6 minutes. And it's a song, it's meta, because it's talking about the songwriting process. I used to labour over the lines. I thought I was writing poetry. I must have been out of my mind to think anyone listened to me. There were times in the 90s where I was writing songs and I would spend weeks adjusting lyrics, adjusting words. And what I failed to realise, truthfully at the time, which I do realise today, is that basically no one gives a shit about song lyrics. I myself, some of my favourite songs, after years and years of singing them, Beatles songs especially, I realised that I've been singing the wrong words. Did it matter that I was singing the wrong words? No. I used to labour over the lines. I thought I was writing poetry. I must have been out of my mind to think anyone listened to me. It's meta.
Listen to me.
So these words are as I speak. No flowering up, no tongue in cheek. Right. So I was just telling you about how... And if you try and write songs yourself, if you musicians watching this channel, you might find when you're young especially that you do spend a long time adjusting words here and there. And it's important, but you feel like you're a novelist and you know your epic works by the likes of Bob Dylan or whatever. And even you learn Shakespeare at school and you're trying to write lyrics that you think they're poetic. And I would take, like I said, inspiration from TV shows. I'd nick a line here and there from a line of dialogue. And it got to the point, towards the end of this album, that this song was the final song I recorded for it, that I thought, I'm not ever going to do that again. From now on, I'm just going to say what I want to say about life. About my life, about your life, about anybody's life. These words are as I speak, no flowering up, there's no flowering up, no tongue in cheek. And some of my biggest songs from when I was playing live in the 90s, I'd write them seemingly about girls. She this, she that. What I was really saying was I this and I that, but I was hiding. And in this song, I'm finally saying these words, and I'm saying... in this song, these words are my words. I'm not flowering them up. This is my words. This is what I want to say to you. If you're taking offence, you're taking offence at what I've got to say. I'm ending the story, returning the book to the library, where for so long... This is the most important part of the song. Let's just... look at those lines there. I know it's taken a while, my mercenaries, but let's just look at these lines, right? So these words are as I speak, no flowering up, no tongue in cheek. I'm ending the story, returning the book to the library where for so long I have been stuck. What I was saying to you was, it's okay basing your songwriting on failed relationships or a set of circumstances that have happened to you in your life. What happens is you go around in circles and every song becomes just the same as every other song, and there's only so many times you can write that song. And I mean, let's face it, if you're writing a book, you'd call it writer's block. If you're writing a song, you can call it writer's block. This is a song about the songwriting process. This is a song about writer's block. It's a song about writer's block. This is a song about writer's, dawning on me now, this is a song about writer's block. And this next bit, this is how I feel sometimes. I mean, I'm smiling in my reaction here, but I shouldn't be smiling, this is serious. And now we're getting angry. Right. That's important. That's important, very important. This is a song about writer's block. This was the final song on what was to be, while I was recording it, my final album ever. And I was writing this song, which was going to be the last song I ever wrote. And as I was writing this song, I realised that I've just changed my whole ethos during the writing of this song. I realised that I should stop writing songs based on comics or based on TV shows or based on films. Or based on failed romances. I had more to say because I suddenly decided that I'm quite a clever bloke, blowing my own trumpet here. I'm quite a clever bloke. I've got more to say in life and talk about shit. I can just talk, and this is before YouTube channel. This was written 5 years before I started this channel. But there's a moment during the writing, recording of this song where I realised that I'm the person who can talk straight down the barrel, straight directly into your brain, directly into your heart. Another whole album must be written because I hadn't said stuff yet. I had things to say, and I realised during this song about the writing process, about writer's block, I realised that I have things to say. Do I still have things to say? This was written 8 years ago, whatever. Now, I probably do it through the YouTube channel. But back then, it was through song. Anyway, at this point, we come back in with the riff again. And during my reaction here, you can probably see that I'm quite enjoying this section. I'm quite enjoying the section. I'm looking skyward here, because this is one of those pieces of music which I think sounds like the heavens are falling on you. Well, they're opening, they're at least opening. And we're coming to the kind of the climax of the song now. None of this has been my fault. Yet it's me who's on the brink. I like that. See, I'm like him. You are my splinters snagged and caught. You bind my hands and hope I'll sink. This is again, probably, I'd have to think back, 8 years ago to what my real motives were here. And it's hard for me to know, just like I can't listen to Bohemian Rhapsody and work out what Freddie meant. Sometimes you can't even work out what you yourself meant, even though you wrote something. But I think this is back to revenge again. The feeling that other people think that they've got one over on you, but you can rise. You can rise. You can rise and fail, but you can rise. Destined for a Brit Award. Now, I may have believed that when I was writing this song. However, I think that's probably transmitting a positive thought. And I play on it a bit with the next line. How many Mercs can you afford? And there's probably an element of the Mercury Music Prize in there. Probably. There's probably a double meaning, but if I remember rightly in this, I lost the things that I adored. My thinking at the time was flawed. People out there, you probably know what I'm talking about there. It doesn't need explanation. Quite often, you don't know what you've got till it's gone, and I lost the things that I adored. I created an album's worth of woe. I like miserable albums. My favourite albums, The Holy Bible by the Manic Street Preachers, the Pink Moon by Nick Drake. I adore albums of woe. But there is also something to be said for creating an album of woe just because wallowing in self-pity is easier than not. So it's coming out the other side of that with a new agenda. I finished a chapter. I think this is now becoming self-explanatory from what I've just said. These lyrics. I shouldn't need to explain them too much further. I finished a chapter. It also goes back to the idea of this being a song about the writing process. A song about the writing process, which was based on a book. And I've got a line in here, I finished a chapter. It means a chapter of my life probably, but it also is a song and an album. Finished. I've made my peace. I've made enough miserable albums, miserable songs. Not that I wouldn't return to that theme again and again and again and again. I was meek and mild, but now I'm a beast. Not I'm a beast, but I'm a beast. This is a revenge song. It's a song about the songwriting process, but this is a revenge song against everybody. I'm turning the page. I choked on The View. I think that's self-explanatory. I'm breaking the spell. I can't hear though whether I'm saying I dry my tears or whether I'm saying I dried my tears. I'm probably saying I dry my tears. I dry my tears. I don't know, but I'm breaking your spell. You mean nothing to me. I dry my tears. I'm getting over anybody who's ever wronged me. I'm getting over it, guys. I'm getting over it. That's what I'm saying here. I'm over it. I'm over it. And now we're into the when I first heard this again a couple of days ago for the first time in 8 years, 5 years, whatever. This end section, this is the conclusion of the book, of the song. This blew me away. This blew me away. This is the end. This is the revenge. I can't do anything else but put my arms in the air. I'm going to do it again. I'll kill you. It needs that to the camera. It needs that to the camera. So I need to conclude now. This has been the first video, and I need you guys to let me know whether an insight into the songwriting process is a good thing or a bad thing. There is the potential that this is a bad thing because it takes away the mystique. However, if you've never heard the song before, who gives a shit about the mystique? This is an excuse for me to play you songs that I've written, and we could go forward in time, back in time. But that's a song called Perhaps I'll Kill You. The essence of it was one of the first songs I ever wrote back when I was probably 14 or so. And I think it's an important song. I think it's a technically difficult song. I think the lyrics are great. And trying to evaluate what they mean for the purposes of a video like this does me some good as well. It does. It does. And quite often my song themes are about revenge, because I think we all feel at times in our life that we've been hard done by. But the problem is, no one cares, my mercenaries. You do need to just turn the page. And Perhaps I'll Kill You is a song about turning the page. Let me know what you think down below. Let me know what you think down below. And thank you for watching. Genuinely. Over and